welcome back to another episode on Anxiety Doesn't Own Me podcast. My name is Emmanuel Isaacson, and I'm an anxiety coach who helps people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally. On today's episode, what I am going to be talking about is how a lot of us, whenever we are struggling with anxiety, we feel kind of guilty in scenarios of whenever, let's say, if we're a parent and our kids want to go somewhere, we tend to avoid going to those places. We tend not to go places. Let's say, for example, our kids want to go on vacation, or they want to go to a store or to the park or whatever it is. We try to avoid that, and we feel guilty. We feel guilty that we don't take them out and we do things with them. And we say to ourselves that they're going to grow up and now I'm not going to have the opportunity to do it with them. And it makes us feel really, really bad. And not even just with parents, whenever you have kids, it's also people that don't have kids that, let's say they have a family event or they want to go somewhere and they miss that thing out, or they want to hang out with friends, catch up, whatever it is, and they feel guilty that they don't go out, that they don't go to that event. And you're like, man, why can I not do this? And we are so hard on ourselves, extremely hard on ourselves. We put ourselves down that whenever it doesn't happen, we're like, man, you see, I'm not capable. Who am I? Like, I'm such a bad person. Like with parents, they may feel like, I feel like a really bad parent. I feel really guilty. Like I feel like I'm not a good mom or I'm not a good dad. It doesn't mean that. I want to let you guys know, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're a bad friend. It doesn't mean you're a bad parent. It doesn't mean that. Think about it this way. If you had a broken leg, would you still feel guilty not going places? Would you still feel bad not being able to go somewhere? No, you wouldn't. You would understand that right now, hey, I have a broken leg. We want to. You see, that shows what kind of good parent you are, what kind of good friend you are, what kind of good person you actually are, because deep down you really want to. It's just that right now you are not capable in doing it. Because it's hard for you mentally. Of course, we can't compare the leg to what we're going through right now, but I just want to give you guys an example. Because right now, what we're going through is a mental and emotional issue that's paralyzing us from doing things. So it's affecting us, and it makes sense that right away we may feel like a bad parent, or that we're not doing good enough, or that we're comparing ourselves to other people, to other parents, to other friends, where they do go out and they do go places and everything, and you're like, man, what am I doing? I feel like I'm just wasting my life over here, and I'm going to miss all these opportunities, and it really sucks. And my kids are bored, and I'm not a good friend in going out. They're always telling me, like, what's going on with you? Why don't you go out? You don't like me or something? Is there something going on? Are you mad at me? Whatever it is. And we start feeling bad about ourselves. But the truth is that it's not like you don't want to. Because I can guarantee it, if you took away the anxiety, you would go. You would take your kids out. You would go places. You would go hang out with your friends. You would go out with your spouse on a date night. You would do it. But it's just hard for you to handle. It's hard for you to go places and do things because of your anxiety. And of course, they're not going to understand it. The only ones that really do understand anxiety are the ones that went through it. But we need to instill this thought and understand, like, hey, you're not a bad person. You're not a bad parent. It's just that right now you can't do it. And I can guarantee it, if you took away the anxiety, you would. You would go out. You would go to those places. You would do those things. I can guarantee it. But it's just our anxiety stopping us. Now, of course, I'm not saying that since you have anxiety that you shouldn't try to heal your anxiety and try to go places and do things. No, it's not an excuse for us. But we have to understand, like, hey, okay, right now I'm having this problem. I'm going to try to work on myself. And we can use our kids or, your wants as a motivator, as a motivator for us to overcome our anxiety and say, you know what? I want to do this for my kids. I want to do this because I want to go out with my friends. I want to do this for my spouse. I want to do this for me. Well, that's the most important thing. You should do it for yourself, of course, because that's the number one thing. Because if you're doing it for somebody else, external, it can always change. But if you do it for yourself, it's more consistent. It's more stable that way. It's like someone that wants to quit smoking. Whenever they want to do it for somebody else, what happens is that it can fluctuate. It can fluctuate because they're depending their motivation on somebody else. Yeah, it's still motivating and it's still helpful, but at the end of the day, we want to have ourselves as a motivator, because you want to do it because of yourself. So for example, if someone wants to quit smoking, the reason why is because of health issues. Like, hey, I want to live a longer, healthier life. I want to see for me, for example, I used to smoke since I was 16 years old. I smoked for about, till I was about age of, I think it was 27 or 28. And the reason why I quit smoking, because I was getting married and I said to myself, like, I don't want my kids to be around the smoke. Like my father used to smoke and I used to hate the smell of it. And of course I got into smoking myself. But what it is, I said to myself, like, hey, I don't want my kids. Number one, I said, I don't want kids to smell the smoke. Number two, I told myself is like, hey, I want to be healthy. I want to see them grow up. I want to be able to be active with them, to see my grandkids. That's the way I was thinking, and I was saying, you know what? I'm done with the cigarettes. I'm finished. Like, I don't need it anymore. And it's been 5 years, and I haven't smoked already, not even once. And now it repulses me. Like, I don't even like cigarettes anymore. But again, the point over here is that I wanted to do it for myself at the end of the day. So also with your anxiety, we need that motivator. We need that. Okay, what's the reason why you want to overcome your anxiety? Because I don't want to suffer like this anymore. I'm sick and tired of suffering like this. I can't, the thoughts, the physical sensations, the emotions that I have, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm done. So that's a motivator right there. That's another reason why. And you should write down, hey, what's the reason why I want to overcome my anxiety? Yeah, the most obvious one is to avoid the pain. But it should be more than that. What is more than that? What do you want to do? What is it that you want? Do you want to travel? Do you want to go see your friends? Do you want to go out to eat? Do you want to leave your house, see the world? What is it? Do you want to do it for your kids? Do you want to have more? Do you want to go places and do things with your kids? What is it? You got to figure out what your why is so that you have the motivation. Instead of sitting there and feeling helpless and feeling that you're not in control, we need to start taking back the control. We need to start taking back our control of our lives so that we can start feeling much better. Because whenever someone feels like they're out of control, like they don't have any control over their lives, they feel really, really down. They feel like, hey, I'm done. I remember whenever I had anxiety and I didn't know what it was at the time, I felt so hopeless. Like I'm done. I have no control over my life. I've never felt like this before in my life. And I have no idea what's going on with me. Nobody else does. I felt so hopeless. I felt like I was not controlling my life. And once I understood what was going on with me, and I understood that it was anxiety and that there was a way out, there was a way to control it, that gave me sense of control. That gave me sense of hope over something. Like, hey, I'm able to handle this. There's ways to do it. It's not easy, of course. It's difficult, but it's possible at the end of the day, and it's worth it. So we want to use, again, guys, we want to use those. We want to figure out what is our motivator. What's going to help us to stay motivated? What's going to help us to continue moving forward? And we have to understand that whenever, again, with your kids, and it doesn't matter, again, it doesn't mean it to be specific with your kids. If you don't have any, with your friends, whatever it is, and you feel guilty about not being able to go places and do things, you have to tell yourself, like, hey, it's not because I don't want to. It's not because if I didn't have anxiety, I would go to places. I would do those things with my kids. I would go with my friends. I would travel. I would be different. My life would be completely different. So you maybe even feel guilty about the things that you are not doing, that you feel like you're not capable of doing. We need to tell ourselves like, hey, it's not me, it's my anxiety. And that I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to figure out, I'm going to put the time, I'm going to put whatever is necessary, whatever resources are necessary in order for me to overcome my anxiety, in order for me to live life like I used to, in order for me to do A, B, and C. That's what I'm going to do. So guys, at the end of the day, we want to remind ourselves it's not you, it's your anxiety. Your anxiety doesn't define you, and that you should use certain things that you want to do, that you are aching, like you feel like, hey, you know what? I should be doing these things different as a motivator so that you can start overcoming and healing your anxiety and to be anxiety free. If you did like this episode, please click the like button and leave a 5-star review. The reason why I ask is because this way we're able to reach more people, and the more people that we can actually reach, the more people that we can actually help. Because my mission in this world, my purpose is to help people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally and show them that it's possible to overcome. Thank you guys, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.